Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Subha Kaul with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi salutes brave soldiers, lauds the Indian Army on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Divas. In his Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister says, positive approach goes a long way in transforming distressing times into opportunities. Prime Minister emphasizes on the importance of remaining extra vigilant as corona crisis is far from over. COVID-19 recovery rate in the country stands at 63.91%. And rescue and relief operations in full swing in flood-affected areas of Bihar and Assam. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has greeted the nation on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Divas, calling it a victory of high morale and bravery of the armed forces. Addressing the nation in Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio today, Mr. Modi saluted the brave soldiers as well as the mothers. He said it was on this very day 21 years ago that the army unfurled the flag of victory in the Battle of Kargil.
आज 26 जुलाई है और आज का दिन बहुत खास है। आज कारगिल विजय दिवस है। 21 साल पहले आज के ही दिन कारगिल के युद्ध में हमारी सेना ने भारत की जीत का झंडा फहराया था। कारगिल का युद्ध जिन परिस्थितियों में हुआ था वो भारत कभी नहीं भूल सकता। पाकिस्तान ने बड़े बड़े मंसूबे पालकर भारत की भूमि हथियाने और अपने यहाँ चल रहे आंतरिक कलह से ध्यान भटकाने को लेकर दुस्साहस किया था। भारत तब पाकिस्तान से अच्छे संबंधों के लिए प्रयासरत था, लेकिन कहा जाता है ना, बैरू अकारन सब काहू सौ, जो कर हित अनहित ताहू सौ। यानी दुष्ट का स्वभाव ही होता है हर किसी से बिना वजह दुश्मनी करना। ऐसे स्वभाव के लोग जो हित करता है।
Mr. Modi stated that India can never forget the circumstances under which the Battle of Kargil took place. He said Pakistan had embarked upon this misadventure, nursing delusions of encroaching upon the Indian soil to distract attention from the internal strife prevailing there. It happened when India was making efforts to foster cordial relations with Pakistan, but the country responded by backstabbing. He lauded the Indian Army, its valor, and said that the whole world witnessed the country's might.
युद्ध की परिस्थिति में हम जो बात कहते हैं, करते हैं, उसका सीमा पर डटे सैनिक के मनोबल पर, उसके परिवार के मनोबल पर बहुत गहरा असर पड़ता है। ये बात हमें कभी भूलनी नहीं चाहिए और इसलिए हमारा आचार, हमारा व्यवहार, हमारी वाणी, हमारे बयान, हमारी मर्यादा, हमारे लक्ष्य, सभी कसौटी में ये जरूर रहना चाहिए कि हम जो कर रहे हैं, कह रहे हैं, उससे सैनिकों का मनोबल बढ़े, उनका सम्मान बढ़े। राष्ट्र सर्वोपरि का मंत्र लिए एकता के सूत्र में बंधे देशवासी हमारे सैनिकों की ताकत को कई हजार गुना बढ़ा देते हैं।
Mr. Modi said people are reminiscing the Kargil victory throughout the country today. They are saluting the brave heart heroes and paying tributes to the martyrs of the Battle of Kargil. He urged the youth to share the stories of the heroic deeds of the nation's valiant warriors and the sacrifices throughout the day.
मेरा देश के नौजवानों से आग्रह है कि आज दिन भर कारगिल विजय से जुड़े हमारे जाबाजों की कहानियां, वीर माताओं के त्याग के बारे में एक दूसरे को बताएं, शेयर करें। मैं साथियों आपसे एक आग्रह करता हूं। आज एक वेबसाइट है www.gallantryAwards.gov.in। आप उसको जरूर विजिट करें। वहां आपको हमारे वीर पराक्रमी योद्धाओं के बारे में, उनके पराक्रम के बारे में बहुत सारी जानकारियां प्राप्त होगी और वो जानकारियां जब आप अपने साथियों के साथ चर्चा करेंगे, उनके लिए भी प्रेरणा का कारण बनेगी।
Mr. Modi recalled the address to the nation by former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee made from Red Fort during the Kargil War. Vajpayee ji had then reminded the nation of a mantra of Mahatma Gandhi that in the face of any dilemma, one must think of the poorest and the most helpless person of the country. Mr. Modi said these words are relevant even today.
अटल जी ने तब देश को गांधी जी के एक मंत्र की याद दिलाई थी। महात्मा गांधी का मंत्र था कि यदि किसी को कभी कोई दुविधा हो कि उसे क्या करना क्या न करना, तो उसे भारत के सबसे गरीब और असहाय व्यक्ति के बारे में सोचना चाहिए। उसे ये सोचना चाहिए कि जो वो करने जा रहा है उससे उस व्यक्ति की भलाई होगी या नहीं होगी। गांधी जी के इस विचार से आगे बढ़कर अटल जी ने कहा था कि करगिल युद्ध ने हमें एक दूसरा मंत्र दिया है। ये मंत्र था, कोई महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय लेने से पहले हम ये सोचें कि क्या हमारा ये कदम उस सैनिक के सम्मान के अनुरूप है जिसने उन दुर्गम पहाड़ियों में अपने प्राणों की आहुति दी थी।
The Prime Minister said that in times of war, whatever people say or do has immense bearing on the morale of the soldiers. He stressed that the conduct, demeanor, speech and statements of everyone must distinctly be conducive to enhancing the morale and honor of the soldiers. He said countrymen bound by a thread of unity with the mantra that the nation is above everything else bolster the strength of soldiers. He said that these days battles are fought not just on borders but within the country too, on many fronts simultaneously. He said every countryman has to decide his or her role in that. Mr. Modi said India has fought against COVID-19 unitedly and the recovery rate is better as compared to other countries. He said the mortality rate is much less as well compared to most countries.
आज हमारे देश में रिकवरी रेट अन्य देशों के मुकाबले बेहतर है। साथ ही हमारे देश में कोरोना से मृत्यु दर भी दुनिया के ज्यादातर देशों से काफी कम है। निश्चित रूप से एक भी व्यक्ति को खोना दुखद है, लेकिन भारत अपने लाखों देशवासियों का जीवन बचाने में सफल भी रहा है। लेकिन साथियों, कोरोना का खतरा टला नहीं है। कई स्थानों पर यह तेजी से फैल रहा है। हमें बहुत ही ज्यादा सतर्क रहने की जरूरत है। हमें ये ध्यान रखना है कि कोरोना अब भी उतना ही घातक है जितना शुरू में था।
The Prime Minister cautioned the people to remain extra vigilant as the hazards of corona are far from over. He advised everyone to wear face masks whenever they are out in public in order to protect themselves and others from the disease.
चेहरे पर मास्क लगाना या गमछे का उपयोग करना, 2 गज की दूरी, लगातार हाथ धोना, कहीं पर भी थूकना नहीं, साफ सफाई का पूरा ध्यान रखना, यही हमारे हथियार हैं जो हमें कोरोना से बचा सकते हैं। कभी कभी हमें मास्क से तकलीफ होती है और मन करता है कि चेहरे पर से मास्क हटा दें। बातचीत करना शुरू करते हैं, जब मास्क की जरूरत होती है ज्यादा, उसी समय मास्क हटा देते हैं। ऐसे समय मैं आपसे आग्रह करूंगा, जब भी आपको मास्क के कारण परेशानी फील होती हो, मन करता हो उतार देना है, तो पल भर के लिए उन डॉक्टर्स का स्मरण कीजिए, उन नर्सों का स्मरण कीजिए, हमारे उन कोरोना वॉरियर्स का स्मरण कीजिए। आप देखिए, वो मास्क पहन करके घंटों तक लगातार हम सबके जीवन को बचाने के लिए जुटे रहते हैं।
The Prime Minister praised the rural regions for coming up as a beacon of guidance for the entire country during these tough times. He gave the example of Balbir Kaur from Jammu, who is a Sarpanch of a Gram Panchayat named Gram Triva. She got a 30-bed quarantine centre constructed in her Panchayat. He also cited example of Sarpanch Zaituna Begum of Chauntliwar, Gandarbal in Kashmir, who distributed free masks and free ration in the vicinity. He lauded Mohammad Iqbal, who is the municipal president of Anandnag, for designing and making a sprayer for sanitization of his area.
The Prime Minister highlighted how the youth and women have come up with new experiments on the basis of their talent and skills in the present times of COVID-19. He said many self-help groups in Bihar have begun making the masks with Madhubani motifs, which are very popular. He praised artisans of Tripura, Manipur and Assam for crafting high-quality eco-friendly water bottles and tiffin boxes from bamboo. He also mentioned how more than 30 groups in Bishnupur, Jharkhand are collectively cultivating lemongrass. Mr. Modi said many innovations are taking place for enhancing fruit quality, productivity and yield. He named the Chulai or apricot fruit in Ladakh and dragon fruit in Kutch, which have the power to transform the economy of the region. Stressing on the need for innovation, Prime Minister Modi talked about how the youth in Bihar have started to cultivate pearls after gathering information and taking training in Jaipur and Bhubaneswar. They are not only earning and becoming self-reliant, but also training the migrant labourers returning from other states in Muzaffarpur, Begusarai and Patna. He expressed happiness that many people are gearing up to celebrate Raksha Bandhan this time by linking the festival with Vocal for Local.
साथियों, अभी कुछ दिन बाद रक्षाबंधन का पावन पर्व आ रहा है। मैं इन दिनों देख रहा हूं कि कई लोग और संस्थाएं इस बार रक्षाबंधन को अलग तरीके से मनाने का अभियान चला रहे हैं। कई लोग इसे वोकल फॉर लोकल से भी जोड़ रहे हैं और बात भी सही है। हमारे पर्व हमारे समाज के, हमारे घर के पास ही किसी व्यक्ति का व्यापार बढ़े, उसका भी पर्व खुशहाल हो, तब पर्व का आनंद कुछ और ही हो जाता है। सभी देशवासियों को रक्षाबंधन की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं।
The Prime Minister emphasized that the correct and positive approach always goes a long way in transforming de-stressing times into opportunities, adversities into triggers of development and progress. He said the nation will celebrate National Handloom Day on the 7th of August.
साथियों, 7 अगस्त को नेशनल हैंडलूम डे है। भारत का हैंडलूम, हमारा हैंडीक्राफ्ट अपने आप में सैकड़ों वर्षों का गौरवमय इतिहास समेटे हुए है। हम सभी का प्रयास होना चाहिए कि न सिर्फ भारतीय हैंडलूम और हैंडीक्राफ्ट का ज्यादा से ज्यादा उपयोग करें, बल्कि इसके बारे में हमें ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को बताना भी चाहिए। भारत का हैंडलूम और हैंडीक्राफ्ट कितना रिच है, इसमें कितनी विविधता है, ये दुनिया जितना ज्यादा जानेगी उतना ही हमारे लोकल कारीगरों और बुनकरों को लाभ होगा।
Mr. Modi also expressed delight at how people from small towns and rural areas are shining in sports and education. He said youth from villages, small towns and ordinary families are coming forward to scale new heights of success. He interacted with Kritika from Panipat in Haryana, Vinayak from Ernakulam in Kerala, Usman Saifi of Amroha in Uttar Pradesh and Kaniga from Tamil Nadu. The Prime Minister said a large part of country is grappling with floods. Many areas of states like Bihar and Assam are dealing with a series of difficulties due to floods. He said the whole nation stands by those affected by this disaster and all governments, NDRF teams, disaster response teams, self-help groups are working in tandem to provide relief and rescue in all possible ways. The Prime Minister congratulated Chandrika Prasad Santokhi for becoming the new President of Suriname and wished him the best on behalf of 130 crore Indians. The Prime Minister remembered Lokmanya Tilak on this occasion. 1st August will mark the death centenary of Lokmanya Tilak. Mr. Modi said the life of Lokmanya Tilak is a source of immense inspiration for all.
आओ नमन करें उनको जिनके हिस्से ये मुकाम आया। खुशनसीब है वो वीर जो देश के काम आया। कारगिल के वीरों को शत शत नमन।
भारत हमको जान से प्यारा है, सबसे न्यारा गुलिस्तान हमारा है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his Mann Ki Baat program congratulated CBSE topper Kaniga's father from Namakkal, Tamil Nadu for his interest in the girls' education. Heavy vehicle driver S.K. Natarajan and his daughter N.N. Kaniga from Namakkal near Trichy, Tamil Nadu have expressed immense gratitude to the Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi. Kaniga had created record by getting 490 marks out of a total of 500 and expressed a desire to become a medical doctor during her telephonic conversation with the Prime Minister. Prime Minister in his Mann Ki Baat program mentioned that dragon fruit farming in the arid Kutch region of Gujarat. He praised the farmers of Kutch for cultivation of this imported fruit so that India can be self-reliant. More from an Ahmedabad correspondent.
Originally, the dragon fruit belongs to South America and India is importing this nutritious fruit. But now the farmers of Kutch region in Gujarat are cultivating this fruit on large scale as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Progressive farmer of Kutch district, Keshubai Thakrani said that farmers are getting good prices of dragon fruit from hotels and restaurants.
सरहदी कच्छ जिला सूखा और अकाल से प्रभावित जिला है, लेकिन यहाँ के मेहनतकश किसानों ने अपनी सूझबूझ से ड्रिप इरिगेशन और गाय माता को साथ में रखकर ऑर्गेनिक खेती में बहुत बड़ा नाम किया है और अपने देश की शिकल बदलने के लिए और आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाने के प्रयास में जुड़ गए हैं और अभी ड्रैगन फ्रूट की बागवानी शुरू करने का बहुत बड़ा काम किया है। ड्रैगन फ्रूट का यहाँ वावेतर कम से कम 500 एकड़ से भी ज्यादा अभी वावेतर हो गया है और किसानों को भी यहाँ मार्केट भी अच्छी तरह से अहमदाबाद, भुज, राजकोट के होटल वगैरह में अच्छी मिल रही है.
Large number of farmers in Bhuj, Gandhidham and Mandvi areas are now cultivating dragon fruit and getting good returns. Yogesh Pandya, Air News, Ahmedabad.
Kargil Vijay Divas has been celebrated across the country today. The nation is remembering its war heroes and paying tributes to the martyrs on Kargil Vijay Divas. The day marks the victory of Indian Armed Forces in Operation Vijay in 1999 when they evicted the infiltrators backed by Pakistani army from high outposts in Kargil sector. The Kargil war was fought for more than 60 days and ended with India regaining control of all the previously held territory. The victory of Tiger Hill was one of the crucial achievements in the 60-day-long conflict. Indian soldiers fought the Kargil war under the toughest conditions on difficult terrain at an altitude of 18,000 feet.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today paid tributes to the fallen soldiers who fought valiantly during the Kargil war at National War Memorial today. Mr. Singh, along with Minister of State for Defence Shripad Nayak, Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, Army Chief General Manoj Mukund Narwane, Navy Chief Admiral Karambir Singh and Air Force Chief Air Chief Marshal Rakesh Kumar Singh Baduria laid wreaths at the National War Memorial and saluted the martyrs. Speaking on the occasion, the Defence Minister said,
कारगिल विजय दिवस केवल एक दिन नहीं है, बल्कि इस देश के सैनिकों के पराक्रम और शौर्य का यह विजयोत्सव है। साथियों, हमारे देश में अनेक पर्व ऐसे आते हैं जो इस देश के वीर सपूतों के शौर्य और पराक्रम की याद दिलाते हैं। वैसे तो हमारा देश इन वीरों के प्रति कृतज्ञता को कभी नहीं भूल सकता, फिर भी ये दिवस उन वीरों के सम्मान में हर बार एक नई ज्योति जला जाते हैं। कारगिल विजय दिवस भी उन्हीं महान पर्वों में से एक है।
As part of the 21st anniversary of Kargil Vijay Divas, the General Officer in Commanding of Fire and Fury, Lieutenant General Harvinder Singh, laid wreath at Kargil War Memorial in Dras today. Senior army officials also paid tributes to the martyrs at the War Memorial. More from our correspondent.
As a part of 21st anniversary of Kargil Vijay Divas, General Officer Commanding of Fire and Fury, Lieutenant General Harvinder Singh laid wreath at Kargil War Memorial in Dras today. In a low-key at an emotional event, Lieutenant General Harvinder Singh paid floral tributes to martyrs at Veer Bhumi in Kargil War Memorial. At the foothills of Tololing Peak, the General Officer Commanding interacted with the soldiers and raised Bharat Mata Ki Jai slogans. Surprisingly, Lieutenant General Harvinder Singh met soldiers of various ranks and remembered his association with them at various places and in different capacities. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, this year events were limited to a single day. However, Dras War Memorial has been decorated for celebrations of 21st year of victory in 1919 Kargil War with full respects. Lieutenant General has addressed briefly the soldiers to fill them with inspiration. With Anayat Ali, this is Ramesh Chandra for All India Radio News from Dras, Kargil.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi salutes brave soldiers, lauds the Indian Army on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Divas. In his Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister says positive approach goes a long way in transforming de-stressing times into opportunities. Prime Minister emphasizes on the importance of remaining extra vigilant as corona crisis is far from over. COVID-19 recovery rate in the country stands at 63.91% and rescue and relief operations in full swing in flood-affected areas of Bihar and Assam. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
The 26th of July, 1999. The Army saga of valor leaves a lasting imprint on the sands of time. Vijay Parva salutes the gallantry, commitment, fortitude and indomitable spirit of our brave hearts. On the unscalable heights of Kargil, an exemplary edict was inscribed in blood. Never again, maybe, for the sake of the motherland, the chance to make the supreme sacrifice. The enemy will be given a befitting reply. Each time, every time, come rain, storm, fire or ice. Vijay Divas. On the 26th of July, a grateful nation salutes her brave soldiers.
The country recorded the highest number of recoveries in a single day since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic in India. A record 36,145 people recovered in 24 hours, pushing the recovery rate to 63.91%. The case fatality rate is further declined to 2.31% in the country. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry today said that the total recovered cases climbed to 8,85,577, while active corona cases in the country reached 4,67,882. The Health Ministry said a total of 48,661 new COVID-19 cases have been reported in the country within 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 13,85,522. In a single day, 705 deaths have also been reported, taking the nationwide toll to 32,063. Indian Council of Medical Research has said that the record 4,42,263 tests were conducted by various laboratories in a single day. So far, 1,62,91,331 tests have been conducted in the country. Even as Maharashtra is setting new records in terms of COVID-19 cases, the state government is facing another challenge from racketeers who are indulging in black marketing of medicines like Remdesivir and Tocilizumab. More from a correspondent.
Both Remdesivir and Tocilizumab are proving to be effective in the treatment of patients affected with novel coronavirus. However, according to the state government, both these medicines have a limited supply. As a result, there has been a spurt in black marketing of these medicines. The state government has directed the Food and Drug Administration Department to keep a tab on such activities and take action accordingly. The FDA and police in a combined operation have busted rackets at 4 places in Mumbai and Thane. Minister for Food and Drug Administration, Dr. Rajendra Shingne said that more raids should be conducted across the state where such rackets are mushrooming, as complaints are being received from Pune, Nasik and Aurangabad. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Even as Kerala continues to report a surge in COVID cases, the case fatality rate remains very low. More from a correspondent.
Kerala, being the state to confirm the first COVID case in the country on January 30th, was relatively very successful in containing the COVID infection in the earlier months when major part of the world was in havoc caused by the pandemic. In the month of May, the state was successful in bringing down the active patients number to mere 16. But the situation overturned as in July, the state reported the first super spread in the coastal hamlets of Thiruvananthapuram district. Since then, the state remains in high alert. But as a total of 18,098 COVID cases were confirmed so far in Kerala, only 60 persons had succumbed to the virus so far, recording a very low fatality rate of 0.3%. Bringing hope, 8,613 persons recovered from the disease so far. Presently, 9,420 active COVID cases are there in the state. But as the COVID cases continue to surge, authorities informed that over 700 COVID care centers are being prepared across the state and the daily COVID testing had been enhanced to over 25,000. Severe restrictions such as triple lockdown, curfew, etc. are being declared in COVID containment zones and clusters. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
Sikkim today extended the statewide lockdown till 6 a.m. of 1st August due to surge in COVID-19 cases. The state was already under lockdown from 21st July till tomorrow, which has now been extended. As per the latest health bulletin, Sikkim has 356 active cases of COVID-19, while the total cases stand at 499 and 142 people have been discharged after recovery. The state also reported its first COVID-19 death today. A report.
All lockdown guidelines issued earlier would be effective during the extended period till 1st August 2020. Sikkim government extended the lockdown following a rapid surge in COVID-19 cases and designation of several containment zones across the state. The state also reported its first death due to the infection today morning when a 74-year-old male resident of Rongli, East Sikkim, passed away at New STNM hospital near Gangtok. The patient had comorbidities and was suffering from hypertension and diabetes. The funeral will be performed by Gangtok Municipal Corporation as per the central government's standard operating procedure. With Hekkat Sarkar, Parijat Sharma from Gangtok for AIR.
In Tripura, in view to contain the spread of coronavirus, the state government has imposed a fresh statewide complete lockdown for 3 days from 5 in the morning tomorrow to 5 a.m. of July 30th. Chief Minister Biplab Kumar Deb said the restrictions during the duration of the lockdown will be as before with exemptions including emergency and essential services, print and electronic media. Meanwhile, 105 more persons tested positive yesterday, taking the state's tally to 3,883. So far, the pandemic has claimed 11 lives in the state. Currently, the state has 1,644 active cases and 2,210 recoveries. President Ram Nath Kovind today presented a cheque of 20 lakh rupees to the Army Hospital, Delhi, to buy equipment that will help doctors and paramedics combat the COVID-19 effectively. The President's contribution to the Army Hospital has been made possible due to an exercise to economize expenditure in the Rashtrapati Bhavan and thus make more resources available to contain COVID-19.
Vice President Venkaiah Naidu today expressed anguish over instances of stigmatizing COVID-19 patients and denial of a dignified farewell to people who succumbed to the virus. He said such incidents were totally uncalled for and urged the local communities and the society at large to prevent the recurrence of such happenings. In a Facebook post, Mr. Naidu said the need of the hour is to fight prejudice and nip it in the bud. He said otherwise it can become more toxic than fake news and misinformation. Urging everybody to treat COVID-19 patients with compassion and empathy, he said it should be remembered that nobody is totally safe and the invisible virus can infect anybody. In Bihar, the situation continues to be grim in flood-affected areas of the state. The worst affected districts of Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur, Gopalganj, Sitamarhi, Supol and West Champaran. About 11 lakh people spread over 10 districts are reeling under the impact of flood. Relief and rescue operations are in full swing. 3 helicopters of the Indian Air Force are carrying out relief operations in the flood-affected areas. 22 teams of NDRF and SDRF have been pressed into service. About 1 lakh affected people have been shifted to safer places and 15,000 people have taken shelter in 28 relief camps. 34 people lost their lives in flood-related incidents. In Assam, 26 people are still reeling under the fury of flood, though the situation slightly improved in the state. 3 persons died today, taking the death toll to 100. 48,000 people are staying at relief camps and relief materials have been distributed to them. Dhubri, Borpeta, Morigaon, Gwalpara among the worst affected districts. NDRF and SDRF are carrying out relief and rescue works.
Now let us take a look at today's weather updates. The national capital Delhi may witness generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature was recorded at 27 degrees Celsius while the maximum is expected to be around 36 degrees. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The city witnessed a minimum temperature of 26 degrees Celsius and will have a maximum of around 31 degrees. In Chennai, the temperature will hover between 28 and 36 degrees Celsius. The city will witness generally cloudy sky. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm with a minimum temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. The maximum temperature will be 35 degrees. In Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while maximum will be around 34 degrees. The city is likely to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In Srinagar, the temperature will hover between 19 and 30 degrees Celsius. The city is also expected to witness partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Leh Ladakh will also have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 15 and 28 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the minimum temperature was recorded at 18 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 36 degrees. It is expected to have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening.
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Former head scientist of epidemiology and communicable diseases at the Indian Council of Medical Research, Dr. Raman R. Gangakhetkar, will participate in the discussion. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi salutes brave soldiers, lauds the Indian Army on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Divas. In his Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister says positive approach goes a long way in transforming distressing times into opportunities. Prime Minister emphasizes on the importance of remaining extra vigilant as the corona crisis is far from over. COVID-19 recovery rate in the country stands at 63.91%, and rescue and relief operations in full swing in flood-affected areas of Bihar and Assam. And with that we end the Midday News.